Hi and welcome to the African Descendants Forum. My name is Lisa and today I'm going to be interviewing a mother of three from the community who converted to Islam 13 years ago. Fanta Elliott, who is of dual heritage background, was initially born and raised in the heart of Toxteth, Liverpool. Fanta's father was an African descent and her mother is also of dual heritage with an English and Brazilian background. Fanta was born in the early 80s when racism was rife, but her mum then decided to move Fanta and her brother to Halifax, West Yorkshire. Fanta grew up there where she married and went on to have 3 children. Today I'm going to be speaking with Fanta about her conversion to Islam and what that's been like for her as a female of dual heritage. So hello Fanta and thank you for joining us today.
Hi Lisa, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you. So first of all, I'd just like to start by asking you, what was it like growing up in Toxteth compared to Halifax?
I think the difference between Toxteth and Halifax, Lisa, when I was a young child in Liverpool. Liverpool has always been a very diverse place, so I was used to seeing people that was of mixed heritage like myself. I was used to seeing Arab, Muslims, Somalians, Indians. Not many Pakistani people, but it was very diverse. It was people from Jamaica there, different faiths and ethnicities all living in one place together. The difference with that coming to Halifax, when I came to Halifax at the age of 7, Halifax was back then very predominantly in the area that I was brought to, Pakistani people. Pakistani family lived there, and then there was also a lot of English people, but they lived on the outskirts, the other areas of Halifax as to where I lived. So it was a shock to the system because I'd never been around Pakistani people and so many English people as well, and not people of my own background, if you like.
So did you suffer any racism when you was growing up?
I did, Lisa, because basically being mixed of Brazilian and African and English, obviously I didn't fit in with the Jamaican kids, I didn't fit in with the English children either. I was always pretty much by myself. There was nobody that I could really relate to. If I was to say I'll go with the mixed people, they again didn't understand me because I was different to them. I looked different and my hair was different and all of that and the background. So yeah, I suffered it from both parts really.
What age would you say that stopped, the racism? If at all?
That's really a good question, because has it really stopped? I think it's gotten a lot easier now that I'm a Muslim, I'm a convert, I belong to that community, so I think it has stopped, but it's still always there in the background. You know?
So what was it that made you convert to Islam? Like, were there any events that led up to, any events in your life that contributed towards that decision?
Yeah, there was many events that contributed to the decision. I'd been baptised as Christian as a baby, and I was the only person within my family on my mum and my father's side that was actually baptised. I was always taught by my mum's mum to put my hands together wherever I am and pray. You can pray to God and things like that. But as I grew up, I had a lot of questions that I couldn't find answered within this Christianity, the Bible, if you like. So I started to look into Islam. My children's father was a Pakistani Muslim from Kashmir descent, and my children was asking questions. They wanted to know about their Islam, being Muslims and things like that, and the father wouldn't come up with the answers for them. So I started to look into it for myself and my children, and that's how we came about it.
So was there any particular events though that that happened in your life that made you think I want to convert?
I think there was many events, not feeling like I belonged, going out and drinking alcohol and going to nightclubs and things like that. I just didn't feel like I was being my true authentic self. And with people that drink alcohol and things like that, obviously a lot of problems come. We get into fights because, again, this racism. A lot of white girls wanted to fight me, and having to stick up for myself. and not having my own family from my dad's side around me, and not having that male figure in my life to protect us and to say that we've got like backup, if you like. I was the one that was, I was a fighter, and I was the one who defended. So yeah, a lot of fighting, a lot of anguish like that, a lot of bullying over the years in schools. So yeah, it was things like that really that really led me to it.
How easy or hard did you initially find it to adhere to the rules of Islam?
Me, myself personally, when I went to the place where I started to learn about Islam, I found it very easily. I didn't find it no problem to cover up myself, to sit and learn what I needed to learn, all the answers to my questions that I had over the years. It was like a jigsaw puzzle being put together without me even having to ask questions. Everything that was said, it just sat as the truth with me. Very easy to let go of alcohol, cigarettes, any, you know, weed smoking, anything like that I used to do. I was like the product of my environment. So all of them things that I was taught before I was 30 at the time, it just became very easy for me to let go of them things and to embrace this new lifestyle and choice that I'd made for me and my children.
And what would you say were people's reactions around you when you came to the decision that you wanted to convert?
After I became aware that this is how I'm going to live my life now, when my mum and my two brothers and people that had known me from my past, the majority of people, apart from one or two good friends, they thought that I'd had a nervous breakdown. Really? They thought I'd gone mental. They started to say really bad things. It came from the closest people to me. Wow. You know, you're a terrorist now. You're going to start blowing people up. You're an extremist because you're covering like this. You've gone mad. They just really came with prejudice towards it. They didn't understand where I was coming from, and we was alienated from my own family members. But with regards to the Muslims that we was around and that we was learning from and things like that, they embraced us, and they became family members to us, it might be said. Oh. How did you overcome the negative reactions? How did you, it must have been very emotional for you going through that, and people, having those thoughts and feelings towards you. How did you overcome that? I think by just being true to myself and knowing that I was on the right path for me, knowing that I was living my truth and just adhering to what I needed to adhere to for my own self. And then just basically dealing with people, it doesn't matter who it is in your life, people can easily come and go. It doesn't matter whether it's family members, friends, these are things that a lot of people face. But I think with regards to my mum and things like that, it was just a matter of basically applying wisdom and using them wisdoms and having the right mannerisms to show these people, look, you have this idea of Islam being this way or Muslims being this way. People learn by your mannerisms about the true Islam, because there's many people that call themselves Muslims but they don't adhere to the rules of the religion correctly. So this is why people, it might be said, some Muslims still drink alcohol, or they still have sex before marriage, or they might go and blow people up. These are not actually the rules of Islam. So I think by just adhering to the rules of the religion, staying true to that and showing people good mannerisms, that's how I overcame it. And with time, people started to accept it all for what it was. Oh. And do you feel that you've been accepted within the Muslim community? Yeah, definitely. I think that I've definitely been accepted within the Muslim community. At first, when I first became like this, it was like 13 years ago now. So being in that predominantly Pakistani area back then, Halifax, where I live now, it wasn't always as diverse as what it is now. So again, it was all pretty much Pakistani Muslims. So because they wasn't used to converts, it might be said, it was all questions like, oh, are you like this because you're a Pakistani now? No, I'm dressed like this because I'm a Muslim, and this is what my religion tells me to dress like, and I'm representing Muslim women, this is how we dress. Or is it because you've got married to a Pakistani? Well, I am married to a Pakistani man, but that's not why I'm dressed like this. This is what Islam teaches us. Islam is not only for Pakistani people, it's a nation of Islam, it's for everybody, so like getting over people, like some of the born Muslims, they was a little bit taken aback by it, and I've been accepted by them, but they even needed to be explained to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, so really, you've had it from both sides, haven't you?
It might be said, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like, because, yeah, Pakistani Muslims back then was quite ignorant. I actually have taught born Muslims about their religion because,
Wow.
you know, because people are born into Islam, they automatically think, oh, well, we're Muslim now, and that's all. But there's rules and regulations that we follow. There's a way of life that we follow, and a lot of people have come away from that, you know. So I've actually in turn ended up teaching them. So I have had it from both sides, but it's been beneficial for all, I think.
Yeah, there's been some positives that have come out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And what would you say it's been like for you as a female of dual heritage converting to Islam?
It's been the best thing that I ever did in my life.
Really?
Yeah, it's brought me a lot of peace. It's brought me a lot of self-awareness. It's taught me a lot of knowledge. It's just been the best thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know how else to put it. You know, there is no other way for me to say it.
That's really nice. That's really good that it's brought you peace.
Lisa.
It is. So, finally, what advice would you give to anyone who's thinking of converting to any religion, not necessarily just Islam?
I would basically say that anybody who wants to come to Islam is basically, you know, go to the people who have learned the religion, who have learned it correctly and who implement it themselves. You know, surround yourself with good, positive people who want the good for you the same way they want it for themselves. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Fanta, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us.
Thanks very much, Lisa, for inviting me. I really appreciate you giving me a platform to speak about Islam.
And to our audience, if you want to know more about the African Descendants Forum and how to get involved, visit kirkleeslocaltv.com/the ADF, or you can email us at the africandecendantsforum@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us today on the African Descendants Forum, and I'll see you soon.